So blocking plus, this is usually a timing and adjustment pass that I like to do. Going in to add flow, add structure to feel the attack, and give this animation in-game readability as far as feeling good, feeling quick, feeling strong. It's just a nice narrow clean pass with a few extra keys in order to move into spline later. But as we play this and we get a look and a feel for how this is going, I'm going to try to do my best to shorten up some spots in this animation to make it just quite a little bit quicker, because as we see in the beginning, there's about 13 frames of nothing before the attack happens, and I already know that within a quick instant of pressing the button, our players are going to be waiting for this attack, and that's something that I don't want to happen. So let's do some adjustments with it. And I think what I can do is obviously cut this one down in half, take everything that we have here, move this guy over, make it just a little quicker. I think too we can probably bring this next frame over just a little bit, or probably just add a small in between in the middle of here. One big thing we want to do is just mess with the chest on the right hand. I'm using these sliders down here. One is ease in, ease out. So this is like a really good helpful tool that I can work with within Maya to kind of help get the reactions that I'm looking for in this animation. One big thing that I would like to just try to ease out on a little bit more is the gun disappears completely from the screen on this frame, and that's something I don't want to do. I don't want to have. So I'm going to ease this guy back up into frame just a little bit. And instead of bringing it out to the side, I want to drop it down a little bit, because right now you see like she's bringing it out to the side. I want to feel this gun dropping out, and especially one more frame I feel would be really good to kind of get a nice read on this rifle dropping at the time. And I'm not too worried about how the arm and stuff are reacting to the rest of the body, but looking to basically just get a sense and readability of the rifle falling out of frame. Cool. And I think here as well, this will help. This will help get out of frame. And also too, I think the leg comes up a little too fast through here. Probably go back and refine this, retime this, because right now it comes out at this frame, which is fine. There we go. So bringing this up, I want to refine this arc. So far their arc's feeling pretty good. Just want to give it a nice little look through. Not really concerned about the knee right there. That's something I don't need. But looking at the arc itself, keeping that up there, this feels pretty good. I feel like I want to get the leg up just a little bit higher around here. Let me look out to the side. And this is just me retiming, reposing, stuff like that. Cool. And then bring this guy up a little bit more. Great. And then our offset that we have here as well. Yeah. Cool. And then bring this one down just a little bit. And then thinking about a roundhouse kick and like what is your foot doing around here? Maybe I could start this foot a little bit more over this way, this side of the screen as it comes in. go. And then put a little bit more rotation as it's coming up. And I like how much the foot's extending around here. Probably going to extend it just a little bit more throughout here because I want it going out this way. And just looking for nice arcs. This is where the impact of the frame is coming. Now I want to experiment with this hit take a little bit, but first I just want to finish. I want to finish the kick complete. I want to just keep looking at the arcs that this foot is making. I notice right around here, this is where my impact pose is, and immediately after this, I want to bring this guy back. So I'm going to probably grab everything right here because it looks like everything is keyframed, and I'm just gonna push this one forward. There you go. Yeah. So after this keyframe, the foot comes back. And also what I want to try to do is I want to grab the left foot and look at the rotation that's happening here. I think to probably bring this one up just a little bit higher. Same with this one as well. Yeah, I want to feel the foot coming in high and possibly dropping just a little bit low around here. And then as the foot comes back, we're going to be rotating it forward. And then backwards again to kind of emphasize the kick. Maybe just this over just a little bit. I want to still have that nice translate and drop with a nice ease in and ease out. And then through here, the leg tends to be moving not so much around here in this space. And I want to see if I can get more of a kick or more of a lower leg rotation around this area. And then maybe start resetting my pose throughout here. Maybe not. Maybe let's just keep it a little bit more throughout here. And then throughout here, I want the kick to essentially kind of just pull itself out of the screen. This is feeling okay. And then just have the knee lead the leg on the way out. So again, here's another space right here. Here's another space right here. We're trying to basically prevent any still frames from happening. So I'm going to grab everything again and move it over. And the leg is doing like this bouncing back and forth, and we're just trying to clean that up. And I think with here too, we can push it out a little bit because I'm looking at the left knee, and the left knee stopping. I want to keep that flow going. Probably pull it a little bit more. Yeah. And then this left foot part right here. Cool. And then through here, this is where the leg kind of stops a bit. So I want to kind of get this part reading a little bit more. So I'm going to bring this one back a little bit and to the right, and bring this one back a little bit more and to the right. Yeah. I want it to match this part just a little bit. And then by looking at our arc, we can tell where we want to bring this little guy at. And just looking at our spacing, we want to pay attention to our spacing. It has a nice little ease out. So here as well, easing out, we can bring this one back in close and middle line this one as well. Cool. And then for the knee, I want to get a little bit more bend in the knee around this area. So we got a nice hyperextension. Probably keep that extension just a little bit more going. And then, let's see, bringing this knee back. Yeah, and I want to bring this knee forward as this leg is coming around. I'm tracking basically this knee as it's coming back and then coming forward again. Yeah. So this is feeling pretty good. I'm just looking at the kick for right now. Let's see, do a quick play blast and see how this feels. Right. So yeah, I'm liking the way the foot's feeling. I'm liking the way the kick's coming up. And now doing this, I want to experiment with that hit pose a little bit more. And kind of look at the camera, some of the camera language that I'm doing around here. I think what I can do is just mess around just a little bit more with the rotations of the head cam. So I'm going to select my head cam, go into perspective, and then basically check my left side here. So my camera's moving in this angle to the right, and I like the spin kick. I like the feel of the spin getting started. And as my camera's coming up through here, I want to get like a little bit more rotation looking up. And then here, maybe stabilize a little bit more because she comes down all of a sudden. And now here's the magic part through here. There's a couple ways I can get more of a camera shake. There's a way that I can do either by tilting the camera to a Dutch tilt and coming back. So you get maybe one of those angles right here. But what I want to do is I want to try to experiment with the focal length. And the focal length is basically a setting on your Maya camera. If you come down here to camera shape, right now our focal length is at 26. And this basically just takes the lens of the camera and squeezes it into an extreme close-up or pushes it away in extreme perspective lens, which you see right here. Both serve its own purpose, but you can also keyframe this focal length to give a nice little push in your animation. Going back to 26. Feels pretty cool. It's probably a little extreme. And I'm just looking at the animation on the focal length. I'll spline it right here. I'll pull it back just a little bit and have maybe just one frame settle, just a small little. Small little focal length frame. So you have kind of like an impact hit right there, which feels pretty neat. And then on the landing, I want to make it feel a little bit, excuse me, on the landing, I want to make it feel a little bit top heavy. way back down, there's a little extreme point here that I want to give a little bit of overshoot to. And I also want to watch out for how much I'm rotating the camera back. I think through here you can give a little bit more indication that the flipping is coming back to settle. And we want to give that illusion that the spin kick is happening. I think also too we can reduce the overshoot because I don't want to make the player too dizzy. I want to feel that nice settle. And I also want to make sure that the gun is not stopping throughout here. So I'm going to add a small little in between. There we go. So on this focal length, this is really cool, but I also want to make sure that my gun is not showing. So just for this pose in general, I'm just going to rotate this gun out of frame. So that way we can't see it. This kick is feeling pretty good. I would like to see, there's a lot of shaking back and forth of the left foot. So I'm just going to go in there and kind of feel this out. I want to make it a solid foot kick. Nothing too extremely different. This one feels kind of, there we go. Yeah, I just want to make it feel a little bit more impactful. And I think too, especially around here, I feel like I want to drop this one a little bit sooner. So let me delete this and then get a feel for how this is. Yeah, and I see how like this foot is flying out the opposite way. We're having that rotation in there. If you're going to go one way, complete going one way. Yeah, this is feeling a lot better. Cool. So let's take a quick play blast of that. Yeah. So as we see that camera hit here, it's feeling pretty good. I'm liking the impact. The impact is there. The trajectory of the right and left foot pose is going where I want it to go. I'm feeling the impact on the kick, which is really good. And I think we could do a little bit more adjustment to the up down of the camera because right now it's in blocking, but I'll be doing that in the next pass of splining. The only last thing that I want to give attention to is the rifle coming back into shot. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. Cool. All right, great. Looking at this now, I would like to bring the rifle back. The rifle comes back pretty quick and does like a nice settle. I like it, but I also feel like we probably just need a frame or two more for it to show up. So going to its chest, its right hand, shoulders, we just want to move this guy up a little bit. So probably right around, I'd say this frame. I just want to move this frame over a little lower, so I'm just going to delete this keyframe and bring this one over just a bit more. Yeah. So she brings the rifle in frame a little bit quick over here. And this is just going to be me doing my adjustments from the rifle. I want the rifle to come in at a arc on the bottom. I want it to pivot from the bottom. So as we've got this pose happening here, I could set up a Tim pivot, which I'm very determined to. I'm very tempted to, but just for the sake of kind of doing this old school, like I want to do this fairly just by manually selecting and moving keyframes around. So with this one coming up, this is feeling pretty good. I'm also looking at the tip of the rifle. And then from this pose to this pose, I want to drop the butt of the rifle down first. And slowly get into this position. This is the ending pose. So let's just move this one down just a little bit more. Let me grab my chest, my right hand, and my shoulders as well. Keyframe all these guys. And the ending of the butt of the rifle, I want to make sure that this particular part of the butt is over to the right side. So we're going to kind of eyeball it by just moving it and keeping it that way. And ever so slightly keeping it in frame as we're going here as well. Cool. And then through here, we're also going to bring the rifle down, a small bit of overshoot. Rifle coming back up. And then I want to drag this settle out a little bit harshly. Because the settle is probably one of the most important parts of animation. If you stop something really stiff or too flashy or too sharply, it's not going to appear to have any kind of weight or dimension to your animation. So in order to give that nice broad settle, it's important to give your animation time to breathe. I'm going to push this guy down just a little bit more. And just do a little bit of rotation. There we go. And then through here, we're going to be doing a little bit of blending. So blend, blend. Blending, settle, and blocking is very, very tight. But it's also going to get that timing that we want. See, there's a giant snap here. And the camera's moving up as well. That's going to give us an indication that we need to put another in between within there. And also favoring one rifle side to the other. Okay, this is feeling pretty good. There's just one small snap that's catching my eye, and it's this frame right here. So I'm looking at the front of the gun, and you'll notice in these two frames, both the rifle is translating down, but the shape isn't changing really. Not until this part that we get. And there's also a small hit there. So I'm just going to be working on the rotation part of the final handle. What I want to do is just get a little bit more rotation in this frame. And in this one as well. Hit here, And we want a little bit of rotation coming down here as well. A little bit of overshoot. Yeah. See, this feels way, way better. So let's take our arc off. We have a nice little settle. Also here too, there's a little bit of an arm pop. We just want to check this in the beginning. This is what's catching my eye as well. So we feel that arc pop here. And all we have to do with that is just pull the rifle back a little bit more. Or maybe a hell of a lot more. And I think here as well. You can feel the rifle coming back here. Also too, let's just translate. Let's make it easier on ourselves and follow the line of the barrel as we're pulling back on the rifle here. Yeah. Yeah, this is feeling already much more better. And also good to take note of is how many frames we're working with on this new spin cycle, because we want to translate this over to our 3P animation. And looking at it now, it looks like we're right around 40, 41-ish. I would say 39 as of right now, so that's going to be our new frame rate. One final play blast. Yeah, and I'm really digging the timing on this one. I'm digging the impact, the landing, the hard settle. I think there's just some small little pops and tweaks in there that we can hash out and blend out for our next stage. But the spin is there, the jump is feeling great, the camera's feeling nice and tight, I feel the impact, and I would say this is good to go for our next pass. Now jumping over to our 3P animation. Given the data that we've had from our first person animation, we know now that our new time is 39 frames. Obviously, we're going to have to be doing some retiming and blocking and just some small minute details on 3P in order to get us ready for splining. Now, as you're seeing this animation play, it's clear and evident to us that as soon as we have our character wanting to hit the attack button of the spin kick, it takes her a pretty long time to get into position, doing a spin kick and returning to position as 2. So this retiming is necessary and very critical for the player in order to get the right feedback that they deserve. So looking at this giant step that we've got Luna stepping into can absolutely most positively be shortened. So we're going to start with that. I think one thing that I'd really like to see for this is getting her into this jump pose really soon. We're gonna extremely shorten these animations up fairly by a frame to frame basis. And what I want to do is I want to get a feel of what it's like getting faster into position. And already this is feeling a heck of a lot quicker. So what we're going to do is essentially time it down till we get to frame 39 and finding out what points we can cut our animation in order to help it feel flexible, readable, and powerful. So I think here too we can also move all these together. I want to try to get to the squat probably around here, so I'm going to be taking this whole gap that we got in the beginning and pushing this fairly forward, almost to kind of experiment to see what this feels. And obviously she takes a quick big step, which feels nice. And I think too we can push this one back just to see what keys we have. Maybe not that one. I think I want to have a nice in-between. And throughout here, we want to jump at least, let's just say 4 frames. I'm going to push this one forward. And then obviously she has to get to the spin cycle much more quicker. I want the spin to happen fairly quickly So I'm going to erase all the keyframes in between this to see where we're at. This is feeling pretty cool. And then through here, one big thing, I'm probably going to have a breakdown between here and there. So what I'm going to do is I'm wanting to get to this kick a little sooner. Obviously, there's a big anticipation here. So looking into this, it almost feels like another keyframe that I can cut out exactly. And one thing that I would like to emphasize is just the kick itself. So once she gets into anticipation, once she gets into her next keyframe, I almost feel like I could shorten this one and redefine this shape once we get there. I'm going to chop a little bit more out of this spin pose. But what I would like to do is I would like to give a lot of exaggeration to this spin kick here and show off the kick feature. One big thing is the heavier you'd like to make a spot on your animation, the more frames you're wanting to put into this animation. So I feel like that's exactly what we're going to do around here. This kick motion, as soon as she hits this kick pose, I want to really overemphasize this jump kick. So maybe go for 6 frames, and because we're working on a short profile, maybe we can shorten it down even, or maybe we can extend it just a frame or 2 more. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think maybe we can push this pose over just by 1. And for the landing, I think we can speed up this landing just a little bit more as well by 2 frames. And as you're seeing, now we're playing and getting back to 39 frames fairly quickly with just a small little gap in between. But this will give us a good start on how to get to our jump pose. And I think here I would like to see possible jump up a little bit quicker. So I'm going to cut this jump a little bit more. And I'm starting to like that a little bit more better. And I think that with this landing, we need to have some settle for the weight. Here, maybe move this one up a little bit more here. That feels a little quick, a little too poppy. So I'm going to go back. So in between these 2 frames, there's a nice jump that goes back into a nice settle, which I have like some nice settle animation. This is feeling pretty good. I feel like I want a little bit more time in the drop here. So maybe I move this 22 back a little bit more. Yeah. So I think a lot of the pose is going to come from this kick. And I want to hang time her in the air just a little bit more to emphasize that kick. And it's feeling pretty good. It's feeling pretty good around here. And I think what I can do to kind of show off a little bit more of this pose is really delve into the breakdowns and the in-betweens in this kick here. It's feeling fairly okay. But I like how quickly she gets into the jump kick. I almost might come back and delete one of these keyframes just for experimentation. Let me see if deleting this number 2 and jumping right into this feels a little bit more better. Yeah, I kind of like that a little bit more. the fast end, but just for safety, I'm going to go back and keep it there just in case I want to take it out. The great thing about this stage is that you can add frames, shorten frames, retime frames to get that feeling that you're looking for. So this is feeling pretty good, and right now we're already at 39 frames, which is perfect. So right now I'm just going to shorten this guy up a little bit and then see Luna for how she's playing in her animation. I'm going to turn off this locator. And then just do a quick play blast to see what we're looking at. This feels pretty good. All right, I'm liking where the energy of the kick is coming. We see the giant wideness of the kick. It feels heavy, and the quickness of her getting into it. And the settle feels just about right getting back, hopping into place. So what we're going to do is just go in and start really improving some of these poses. Obviously, we see the hands are way too stretched. The gun is not making any sense. We're going to go through and make a nice little gun pass so we're not taking our focus on the gun, but more likely the kick. And just add a couple more poses, especially with this last little foot tap in the front. We're just going to do some readjustments. But this gives us a fairly good start for our retiming blocking plus. All right, and with that out of the way, let us start really taking some time to redefine some of these poses in our keys. So I'm going to switch over to perspective here. Take a look at Luna from all sides, all angles. And really pay attention to all her movements, all her keyframes. So the stepping's feeling pretty good. I'm liking where she's going in here. I think I might want to space a little bit more of the cog into the step. And looking at our arcs and where she's going, where she's coming to, this part right here, I feel like we could space out a little bit more. So bringing the hips down here in this arc position, and also we are going to be looking at the foot in this pose as well. So wanting to bring this foot, and this is where I'll try to use a little bit more sliders right here, my tween machine, my ease in, my ease outs. So coming to where my right foot is, we want to make sure that it's getting placed to the ground a little bit sooner. So right here, we're just going to go to our tween machine and hit right, where it's going to connect already. But we're just going to get a little bit more of a step into position. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we stepped into position, rotated the foot back a little bit more, and just brought it up ever so slightly, just so the foot is leading into the step. It's important to break up your limbs in your animation to give it that feeling that we're looking for. Now let's check it from the front because I'm already getting ahead of myself. So God mode is important, like we said before, but also from this front and the side, we need to make sure that this movement is making sense and everything is being readable. Now the gun takes a move out to the move to the side, which kind of looks cool in its own. It kind of looks cool in its own space, but I also want to make sure that we're tracking this gun properly. It's not breaking out of our silhouette. It's moving where it needs to be. I feel like a little bit of weight added here can go a long way. And especially right here too. I want to make sure that the gun is fairly in the same space as she's moving to make her jump kick. So I'm trying not to make any frames where the gun is getting too disjointed or too flashy, because it is a heavy piece of equipment and we want to make sure that it's reading with her. And then working my way up to the head. We haven't done the facial animation yet, but we'll soon get to that after. This pose is feeling pretty good. Revisiting the rifle pose. and the shoulders as well. Now this is her squat pose. This is pretty much her lowest pose that she's going to have. And I'm going to try my best to see if there is a way I can get her body to keep this gun facing forward, but yet still facing forward. To keep this gun facing forward, but yet close to her body. Get this gun to keep facing forward, but yet still close to her body. And I think as we go over here, I'm going to reset my shoulder pose and just give it kind of like a new outline to keep her profile pretty appealing. Nice little squat here. I think here as well too, we want to lift the head up just to prevent kind of the whole body moving the same way with each other. Maybe just a little bit of stretch. So I want to track the head, but I also want to make sure that they're not moving in unison, that we still have some space to play around with. Okay, tracking her hips. Now I'm just going to work on the pelvis a little bit. Push the pelvis out to the side. And now distributing the weight. We want to feel that weight being absorbed by her foots. Cool. Let me just do a quick Alt key here. Awesome. And also readjust the chest ever so slightly. And this will in turn move the gun, which we have it parented to. And now this breakdown is where we're going to be jumping into her jump pose. And what's really important is that we bring her hips up, and we also distribute the fact that she will be jumping up, straight up towards the sky, and just with a little turn into it too, to kind of give us a nice lead into. In this pose, it's really an extreme breakdown. So I want to lead with the head. And also I want to drop the rifle as she's coming up. Counterweights, zero out the shoulders, and also drop them as well since she's launching herself up. And also in this pose too, I think like I would zero out the shoulders. I think even here too, I want to look at the arc or the spacing of the cog, the TY, to make sure that I'm pushing her body up and out to get like some nice slow in to the top of this pose. It's feeling pretty good. Now this one will be pretty interesting because this is an extreme breakdown. I think what we can do is look at this pose from the side and really pay attention that this foot is going to be coming up. So one big thing that I would like to try is on this jump pose, or especially on this pose as well too, we start really twisting into the movement by twisting the head, and also too lifting up the body. I mean lifting up the foot as well. because the foot is essentially going to be coming up. And I want to look for that nice S shape in the body, that nice turn. And by lifting up this foot, leading into this turn, and also shaping up this foot to show you where the leg is coming to, we can do that. Now this is going to take some flipping back and forth. We want to feel that torque. We want to feel that bend in the body. And I'm essentially looking for this curve in the arc. And also that head spin around, because the head is going to be leading the turn. And this is where I start to go back and forth between all my poses and start readjusting a couple things, pushing some things forward, pushing some things backwards, and some things higher as well. So even here too, I want to grab both feet as well as the cog and push this one up a little bit higher for Luna. There we go. And also looking at it from the front, the foot is going to be coming out, the left leg is going to be coming out. Let's get rid of our arcs and play around with our foot here. So looking at from where this foot is from here to there, we're going to want to find the in-between. I think around this part is when we can really experiment to see how far out we need to bring the leg, as well as how far the knee is going to come up. And I think here too, instead of coming straight up and out, it's important to know that when Luna is jumping up, she is rotating her whole upper body to get that spin. So the force is being driven by the upper body. Let's not lose sight of that, especially when she comes in with her left foot. Even here, we might get a little bit of movement this way with the leg. But it's also important, even from the front, to make sure that the leg language is coming through okay. Kind of looking for that breakdown pose. And going through our pelvis, making sure that that's clear with our legs. We don't want anything too bendy. And still remaining with our S shape coming this way. And through here, the chest seems to hit a wall, and we're just going to push this a little bit more over. We're going to get that arc, really going to get that curve. And I'm just paying attention to the core body. I'm not really worried about the gun yet. Even through here too, I want to make sure that her body is essentially reading, I'm about to twist kick the hell out of you. I'm about to twist kick you. And just looking at similar key poses here, just to work on the shape. And coming to this foot, which feels really cool. And during this pose, this is our extreme kick going out this way. And I think we can improve on this pose just a little bit more and push the chest out a bit more further this way, as well as get our right foot a little bit more under bottom. For the rest of her pose. And it's important to know around here, let's just make sure our shoulders are zeroed out. Okay, they are. And just for good measure, I want to bring this hand up because there's something in this space in between her chest and her armpit that I'm not digging. I want to dive in to see what is this feeling like, where is this coming from. And it looks to be the elbow. The elbow just needs to break in a little earlier. Yeah, like this, which is great.